Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel. What if someone faked a terminal illness just to force two people to get married? Because in Los Angeles, Ivy's desperate lie has just exploded, and the fallout could change everything. Ivy returns to Los Angeles hoping to reconnect with the Forrester family. But what begins as concern for RJ and Electra's uncertain relationship quickly spirals into something shocking. Believing Electra's hesitation will destroy RJ's future, Ivy fakes a terminal illness to pressure Electra into marrying him. But when the truth finally comes out, the emotional explosion that follows shakes the entire Forrester family and forces everyone involved to confront the consequences of Ivy's desperate deception. When Ivy recently returned to Los Angeles, it seemed like a simple homecoming. After time away, she wanted to reconnect with her family and once again find her place within the powerful Forrester dynasty. The fashion empire built by generations of Forresters has always been more than just a business. It's a legacy, a symbol of identity, and a source of pride for everyone connected to it. At first glance, Ivy's return appeared genuine and heartfelt. She seems eager to reunite with the family and contribute to the future of the company. But as time passed, it became clear that Ivy wasn't simply returning out of nostalgia. Beneath her calm exterior, she was quietly observing the complicated dynamics unfolding around her, especially the delicate relationship between Electra and RJ. The situation between Electra and RJ had already been complicated before Ivy arrived. Their relationship was built on real affection and deep emotional connection, but it was also weighed down by uncertainty. RJ, the passionate and romantic son of Reach Forrester and Brooke Logan, had no doubts about what he wanted. In his heart, Electra was the woman he envisioned spending the rest of his life with. But Electra was struggling. Even though she loved RJ deeply, she couldn't shake the fear that rushing into marriage might create expectations they weren't ready to handle. Growing up around the Forrester family meant witnessing countless relationships collapse under pressure, affairs, betrayals, divorces, and broken promises were practically woven into the family's history. Because of that, Electra worried that committing too quickly could trap them in a cycle they weren't prepared to face. RJ, however, interpreted her hesitation very differently. From his perspective, her uncertainty felt like rejection. He saw their love as something worth fighting for, something that deserved a future without hesitation. The more Electra delayed making a decision, the more frustrated and confused RJ became. Their relationship slowly began to feel fragile, and Ivy was watching everything. From her perspective, the situation looked like a disaster waiting to happen. Ivy had spent years absorbing the emotional chaos that often surrounded the Forrester family. She had witnessed love stories crumble because people hesitated, made poor choices, and or failed to commit when it mattered most. To Ivy, stability meant everything. And when she looked at Archie and Electra, she believed she was watching history repeat itself. In her mind, Electra's hesitation wasn't just a personal struggle, it was a threat to Archer's happiness and potentially even to the stability of the family's future. Ivy became convinced that Electra's doubts could lead to heartbreak, and that belief started to change her thinking in dangerous ways. The turning point came when Ivy received some unexpected medical news. It wasn't anything catastrophic, just a minor health issue that doctors assured her could be treated easily. There was no serious danger and certainly nothing life threatening. But when Ivy heard the news, an idea crossed her mind. At first, it was just a fleeting thought, something she immediately recognized as wrong. But the more she thought about it, the more tempting the idea became. What if Electra believed Ivy was dying? What if Electra thought Ivy had only a short time left? If that were true, Ivy imagined Electra might feel compelled to grant one final wish, and that wish could be seeing RJ happily married. The idea haunted Ivy for days. She knew the lie would be enormous. Pretending to have a terminal illness wasn't just dishonest, it was cruel and manipulative. If anyone discovered the truth, the emotional damage could be devastating. Yet every time Ivy watched RJ struggling with Electra's hesitation, she convinced herself that drastic action might be justified. Eventually, the thought stopped feeling like a bad idea and started feeling like a solution. One evening, Ivy asked Electra to meet her privately. From the moment Electra arrived, something felt wrong. Ivy's pale expression and trembling hands immediately made Electra uneasy. Then Ivy began telling her story. With a fragile voice and carefully controlled emotion, Ivy claimed that doctors had discovered a rare and aggressive illness. According to her story, the prognosis was devastating. She suggested that her time might be very limited. Electra was instantly horrified. Tears filled her eyes as she struggled to process what she had just heard. She immediately wrapped Ivy in a hug, promising that they would find the best doctors and explore every possible treatment. But Ivy shook her head sadly, insisting that nothing could be done. And then she revealed her supposed to final wish. Ivy explained that before she died, she desperately wanted to see RJ marry the woman he loved. She begged Electra not to let fear destroy the future she and RJ could have together. Electra was completely stunned. Marriage had always been something she wanted to approach carefully, but Ivy's emotional request placed enormous pressure on her. Electra tried explaining that marriage should never been happen before because of tragedy or guilt. Yet Ivy continued playing her role perfectly. She insisted that knowing Archie would be happy would give her peace during the final days of her life. Meanwhile, Archie began noticing that something strange was happening. The tension between Electra and Ivy was impossible to ignore, even though he didn't yet know why. Eventually, Electra told him the devastating news. RJ was shocked. The thought that Ivy might be dying was almost impossible for him to accept. He immediately went to see her, promising to support her through whatever time she had left. During the emotional conversation, Ivy tearfully told him how proud she was of the man he had become. And then she hinted at her final wish. RJ quickly understood what she meant. Although he had always hoped Electra would eventually accept his proposal, he had never wanted her to feel pressured into saying yes. The idea that Ivy's illness might influence Electra's decision created a painful internal conflict. Part of Archie wanted to fulfill Ivy's wish, but another part feared Electra might sacrifice her own happiness out of guilt. Electra, meanwhile, faced an emotional dilemma unlike anything she had experienced before. She cared deeply about Ivy and couldn't imagine refusing what might truly be a dying woman's final request. But she also knew marriage had to come from a genuine readiness, not emotional pressure. Late one night, she confided in a close friend, admitting that Ivy's request was tearing her apart inside. As the days passed, Ivy continued strengthening her lie. She acted increasingly weak and often spoke about how precious time had become. Her performance was convincing enough that even other members of the Forrester family began believing the story. Conversations about supporting Ivy during her supposed final months spread throughout the family. But one person began noticing small inconsistencies. Details about Ivy's medical condition didn't quite make sense. Certain explanations felt vague, and Ivy seemed far more energetic than someone facing a terminal illness should be. Slowly, suspicion started growing. Eventually, the situation exploded when a doctor connected to the Forrester family unintentionally revealed information that contradicted Ivy's claims. Suddenly, whispers turned into accusations. Electra confronted Ivy directly, demanding the truth. What followed was one of the most explosive emotional confrontations the family had seen in a long time. Cornered and overwhelmed, Ivy finally broke down. Through tears, she admitted everything. She confessed that she had exaggerated her illness and lied about being terminally ill. She insisted her intentions had been good, that she only wanted to protect RJ's happiness and push Electra toward the future she believed they deserved. But the damage had already been done. Electra felt deeply betrayed, realizing that Ivy had manipulated compassion and fear to influence such a personal decision left her shaken. RJ was equally stunned, while he understood that Ivy believed she was helping. He couldn't ignore the deception. The scandal spread quickly through the Forrester family. Some relatives were furious, calling Ivy's behavior unforgivable manipulation. Others sympathized with her misguided attempt to protect someone she loved. The situation quickly became another dramatic chapter in the emotional history of the Forrester dynasty. For Electra and Archie, the ordeal forced them to re-evaluate everything about their relationship. With the pressure and manipulation removed, they finally had the chance to ask themselves what they truly wanted. Electra eventually realized something important. Despite the chaos and emotional pain, her feelings for Archie were still real and strong. But this time, any decision about marriage would come from her own heart, not from guilt, fear, or desperation. Meanwhile, Ivy was left facing the consequences of her actions. After confessing the truth, she collapsed emotionally in front of Electra and Archie. The confident facade she had maintained for so long completely disappeared. For the first time since the lie began, Ivy allowed herself to be vulnerable without manipulation. Through tears, she tried explaining that she had never intended to control Electra's life. In her mind, she had simply been trying to save a love story she believed was worth fighting for. But intentions, no matter how sincere, couldn't erase the damage her deception had caused. The fallout from Ivy's lie reaches far beyond a simple misunderstanding. Trust within the Forrester family has been shaken once again, reminding everyone how fragile their relationships can be. Electra and Arjun must now reveal their connection without outside interference, while Ivy faces the challenge of repairing her reputation and earning forgiveness. The situation also exposes how easily love, fear, and desperation can blur moral boundaries, turning even well intentioned actions into emotional chaos. Honestly, this storyline is classic, bold, and the beautiful drama at its finest. Ivy's plan is shocking, but at the same time, it comes from a place that feels strangely human. She believed she was protecting someone she cared about, but she crossed a line that should never be crossed. What makes the story powerful is that it forces every character to confront their true feelings instead of hiding behind pressure of our expectations. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think Ivy deserves forgiveness after everything which she did, or did her lie go too far to ever be forgiven? And what about Arjun and Electra? Will this crisis bring them closer together, or has too much damage already been done? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I would love to hear your predictions. And if you enjoy deep dives into the bold and the beautiful drama, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next shocking twist in the Forrester family saga. Trust me, the story is far from over.